What's up guys, Felix here. I want to talk today about a macro guide talking about the Windwalker macros that I use for patch 5.4. Now this video is going to be pretty short and pretty straightforward, but the macros that I feel that need a little bit more explaining to do because not everyone can just see a macro and then copy paste it and then use it the way it's supposed to be used. I'm going to be giving you guys some examples and explaining to you why I use these certain macros. So without further ado guys, let's get started. First macro that we have is our regular burst macro if you're running with Invoke Xuen. So our burst macro is going to go as followed. So if you want a link or if you want to copy paste this macro, just look in the description. I'm going to leave all these macros there. But what it does is just casts our Tigerseye Brew and then summons our Invoke Xuen. Now if you're running with Rushing Jade Wind as a burst spec, I would not suggest putting that into a macro and replacing Invoke Xuen the White Tiger with Rushing Jade Wind, because Rushing Jade Wind does share the same global cooldown as your other abilities, so I would rather do that manually. Now I made an entire video about this in greater detail explaining, but I'm still going to give you guys an example. If you're running with the Invoke Xuen talent, make sure that you put slash pet attack in each one of your abilities, mainly your jab, Tiger Palm, Rising Sun Kick, and Blackout Kick with slash pet attack. The reason for this is because it's going to make your Invoke Xuen pet have a very fast reaction when you're switching targets, and it's really helpful for PvP and even PvE. Alright guys, let's take a look at these pet attack macros in action. So, as you see right here, I'm going to summon my Invoke Xuen, and I'm going to constantly be switching targets. And as you see, my Invoke Xuen is basically instantly switching targets constantly. So I'm going to roll into the next clip where I'm not using these macros and show you guys how much of a delay Invoke Xuen has when I'm not using these macros. Alright guys, let's take a look when I'm not using these macros. So I'm going to summon my Invoke Xuen again and basically switch targets, and you're going to see how much time it takes Invoke Xuen to actually react. As you see, it's about a 5 to 10 second delay. I've actually made a video on this explaining only this, so I'm probably going to leave it linked to that in the description below if you want to check that out and kind of get a better understanding of this. But let's move on. And if you run arenas guys, it's important to have your arena 1, 2, and 3 macros basically for targeting, so you're not clicking on the arena frames or clicking on Gladiator. What it basically does is it just targets the player, or you can implement it with a focus macro, you can implement it with a certain spell, you can basically implement it with anything you need. But it's really important when you're running arenas to use arena target macros. I know I haven't in a lot of my videos because I've been lazy in setting them up, but it's something that I've been needing to do for a really long time. I just didn't find any keybinds for them lately. But I would suggest taking these, and basically what it is, if you don't know what the arena target is basically it goes in order. So if you are in arena and basically from top to bottom, the top one is arena 1, the middle one is arena 2, and the next one under is arena 3. So that's basically how the targeting system goes, so you don't have to constantly be switching targets and trying to find out where this certain person is. Alright guys, let's move on to the next macros. Alright guys, now we have our Chi Wave macro. Now what this Chi Wave macro does is basically you have your Chi Wave, and as you know, it does 7 ticks. Now if you use it on a player first or a target dummy or anything, if you use it on them first, it's going to be damaging them 4 times and then healing you 3 times. If you have a macro that heals you first, it's going to be healing you 4 times and damaging 3 times. So for the sake of survivability, I tend to make a macro for it to heal myself 4 times rather than damaging 4 times because I like my survivability. Alright guys, let's talk about our mouse over focus macros. Now you can do this with any single spell, but I would suggest having a mouse over focus for every single tune that you play, no matter what class, no matter what spec, because you're always needing to focus targets for certain things, no matter what you're doing, even if it's PvE. So what that is, it's basically slash focus and then at mouse over, and what it does is basically you have to hover over a target and then click your mouse over focus macro and it sets them to focus instantly. It's really easy and really helpful. Now let's move on to our basically final macro that I want to discuss in this video, which is our Stormworth Fire macros. Now what this macro is going to do is it's basically going to cancel all your Stormworth Fire abilities, so you don't have to manually click on each player if you have 2 Stormworth Fire clones out. Now, as you know, Stormworth Fire is a spell that you basically put on another player or a raid boss or whatever you're doing to basically split the damage. Now, if you want to take it off, you would actually have to go back and click that person or player or whatever you're doing damage to, and then click your Stormworth Fire ability. Now if you have 2 out, it makes it extremely frustrating to click both of them and then click off your ability. So to compensate, all you have to do is put this into one simple macro to basically cancel your Stormworth Fire, and that's /cancel aura Stormworth Fire. And what it does is, you saw right there, it basically cancels your Stormworth Fires, so you basically don't have to worry about finding your other clones and seeing what they're doing off in Africa, seeing like, what are you doing, get back here, and stuff like that. So if you use that macro, it's really easy to just cancel all your Stormworth Fire clones. Alright guys, the last thing that I want to talk about is basically something that my friend found. If you guys know who Carve is, he found this trick out, so make sure you check him out and give him support for finding this out. I'm not taking any credit for this. But what it does, it basically uses our Stormworth Fire clone as a teleport. All we do is we send our Stormworth Fire clone on that target, and then we hit Transcendence Transfer, and we can use it to teleport to that enemy player, or raid boss, or whatever you want to teleport to. The only downfall about this is that if you're still rooted, like a Frost Nova or a Entangling Root, you're still going to have that when you transfer, so make sure you keep that in mind. So what I would do if you use that method to transfer to that target or to that player is I would follow it up with some sort of CC, especially if you're running PvP, because it can just break and you'll be stuck in the same position that you were a little while ago. So make sure you check out Carve and basically give him support for finding out this little trick, because I think it's really cool. And again, I really don't know if it's a bug or not, but still give him support for it. Alright guys, that's basically been the 5.4 macro guide talking about the macros that I use as a Windwalker Monk for patch 5.4. Now if you guys have any questions for me or any comments, concerns, feel free to leave a comment below, or if these are not all the macros you've been looking for, just leave a comment below asking me about certain macros that you need help with, or check us out on Gamers League, because we have a ton of forums already on Gamers League talking about macros that other players use to basically help improve their game style, and they're sharing it with us. So make sure you check us out on Gamers League, give us support, make sure you check out all the other guides if you're having any questions about any other class, not only a monk, any single class about Warcraft. Make sure you check us out and give us support. But other than that, hope to see you guys in the next guide, and hope you guys have a great day. Take care.